Be honest with yourself. How long can you actually focus on one thing without reaching for your phone? 5 minutes? 2 minutes? Maybe less. If that question makes you uncomfortable, you're not alone. Most people assume their shrinking attention span is a discipline problem, that they've become lazy, distracted, weak-willed. But what if that's not true? What if your attention is being actively hijacked by dark psychology designed into the apps you use every day? There was a time when your mind could sit with a single thought for hours. Now, many people struggle to survive 30 seconds without checking a screen. And the more you look at what's happening, the harder it becomes to believe this is simply a personal failure. Because every notification, every endless scroll, every autoplay recommendation, every perfectly timed vibration was designed by someone, and none of it is random. Right now, some of the smartest psychologists, behavioral scientists, AI engineers, and product designers in the world are competing for one thing: your attention. And they're winning. The disturbing part? Most people don't even realize it's happening. They think their inability to focus is a personal weakness. But what if your attention is being trained away from deep focus? What if the game was rigged long before you opened your phone today? Tonight, we'll uncover the psychology behind the attention economy, why your brain struggles to disconnect, how ancient wisdom predicted this problem centuries ago, and most importantly, how to reclaim control before someone else does. Imagine walking into a casino. No clocks, no windows, no sense of time. Everything is designed to keep you engaged. Now imagine carrying that casino in your pocket, a device that constantly demands attention, delivers unpredictable rewards, tracks your behavior, and is never more than a few inches away. That's your smartphone. Former Google design ethicist Tristan Harris has warned that technology companies are locked in a race to capture human attention. Why? Because attention has become one of the most valuable commodities on Earth. The longer you stay engaged, the more valuable you become to them. And over time, something begins to change. You become less comfortable with silence, less comfortable with boredom, less comfortable being alone with your own thoughts. Research by Gloria Mark found that after an interruption, it can take more than 20 minutes to fully regain focus. Think about that. A notification doesn't just steal seconds, it can steal the flow of your thinking. Not because anything is wrong with you, but because your brain adapts to whatever it experiences repeatedly. To understand why this happens, we need to talk about dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the chemical of pleasure, but that's not quite right. It's more closely linked to anticipation, the possibility of reward. Your brain releases dopamine not only when something good happens, but when something good might happen. That's why social media is so powerful. Every refresh, every swipe, every notification could bring something rewarding, a message, a like, something new. Psychologist B.F. Skinner discovered that unpredictable rewards create stronger habits than predictable ones. It's the same principle that makes slot machines so difficult to walk away from. Now imagine carrying a slot machine in your pocket all day. You aren't always scrolling because you're entertained. You're scrolling because your brain has learned to keep searching. Maybe the next swipe is the one. And because the reward is uncertain, you keep going. At some point, I started wondering something. If these platforms are free and billions of dollars are flowing through them every year, what exactly is being sold? Most people say advertising, and that's partly true. But eventually I realized something more important. The real product isn't the ad. The real product is your future behavior. Every second you spend scrolling teaches algorithms something about you. What captures your attention? What triggers your emotions? What keeps you engaged? The more attention you give away, the better the system becomes at predicting what you'll do next. And that's when the problem becomes much bigger than distraction, because your brain becomes excellent at switching and worse at staying. And this is the idea that completely changed how I think about attention. For years, I thought attention was a productivity problem. How do I focus more? How do I get more done? But attention isn't just about productivity. It's about identity, because every day your attention casts votes for the person you're becoming. Every video, every scroll, every click, every distraction, you're teaching your brain what matters. If you spend hours consuming outrage, Your brain learns that outrage matters. If you spend hours consuming comparison, your brain learns that comparison matters. If you spend hours consuming distraction, your brain learns that distraction matters. Eventually, your attention stops following your identity. Your identity starts following your attention because your life ultimately becomes whatever repeatedly captures your attention. When I first came across this idea from Marcus Aurelius, I couldn't stop thinking about it. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, what you repeatedly pay attention to eventually shapes who you become. Another Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, argued that your attention is one of the few things that is truly yours. Everything else can be taken away, but where you direct your mind remains your choice. Buddhism identified a similar problem centuries earlier. The Buddha taught that suffering often begins with craving, the endless search for the next thing. Sound familiar? Every swipe is often driven by the same hope. Maybe the next one will finally satisfy me, but satisfaction rarely arrives. Only more seeking. The technology is new. The psychology isn't. The good news? Your attention can be rebuilt. Here are 3 practices. First, protect your first hour. Don't begin your day by reacting. Begin by choosing. Avoid your phone during the first part of your morning. Give your mind a chance to wake up before the algorithms do. Second, schedule your attention. Decide what deserves your focus before distractions make the decision for you. Attention works best when it has a destination. Third, treat boredom like medicine. This sounds strange, but psychologist Sandy Mann found that boredom can significantly increase creativity. When your brain isn't constantly consuming, it starts connecting ideas, thinking, reflecting, creating. Take walks without headphones. Wait without scrolling. Let your mind wander. At first it feels uncomfortable, then it becomes liberating. The greatest battle of the modern age is not for land, not for money, not even for information. It's for attention. Because attention determines what you think, what you learn, what you believe, and ultimately, who you become. One side wants to capture your attention, the other wants you to master it. And as artificial intelligence becomes more powerful, that battle will only intensify. The future won't belong to the people with the most information. It will belong to the people who can still focus. So I'm curious, how long can you sit alone with your thoughts before reaching for your phone? Try it today, then come back and tell me in the comments. And if you're interested in psychology, neuroscience, philosophy, and the hidden forces shaping human behavior, subscribe. Because awareness isn't just knowledge, it's self-defense.